Yeah, that's a lot better. You can see how it kind of smooths it all out and it gets rid of those ripples. Now on this hill, I don't know if it's gravity, moisture that's underneath the gravel, I don't know, maybe a combination of a lot of things, but we'll get some ripples and they just seem to form overnight. You can smooth this all out, come out the next day, and it'll look like waves on the ocean. Really weird. In fact, you might be able to kind of see some that are still right in this area. So I'll go over that a couple more times. But yeah, this is gonna help. Just one of those things we have to do about once a week or so. All right, so there's the branch in question. Might be hard to see, but it broke out of the top of the oak tree. So it's just kind of pinned right up in here, and then this tree over here caught it. The branches got tangled up. So it's just kind of laying in there. We tied a rock to the rope and he's gonna try and throw it up and over. Try to get the dog out of the way first. Come here, Tuck. Get out of the way, puppy. All right, here we go. He's got a better arm than I do, so let's see how this goes. Oh, he was standing on the rope. This might end up being the hard part, getting the rock up there. Oh, almost. Oh, almost. Well, we got the rock over the branch. Come here, Tucker. We got it. It's dangling now though, but he got it out. There it goes. Finally. Wow. That took a little bit more force than I expected, but no match for the Mule. Hey there, guys. Well, it is a really windy day, but hopefully you can hear me okay. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I've noticed early on, now that I've had several weeks to use this machine around the property and ridden it a little bit, just a little bit recreationally. And my cousin borrowed it and took it to Eastern Kentucky to do some scouting. They're going to go bear hunting, I guess, here in a couple of months, him and a couple of his buddies. So the three of them got in here and took this thing on a 50-mile journey through the mountains of Eastern Kentucky to scout for bears. So this machine's got some use on it now, and I just thought I'd give you a few thoughts on this Kawasaki Mule MX. So first of all, I just learned this. I didn't actually know this when I bought the machine, but these are made by Kymco. Kymco's been making a lot of different machines for a long time. There's a lot of machines on the market that are actually made by Kymco, but they're branded, you know, other brands. I know Arctic Cat's had a relationship with them for many years, and gosh, I can't even think of all of them. But apparently this machine, even though it's branded Kawasaki, it's actually made by Kymco. I didn't know that. And as far as I know, this is the only Kawasaki Mule in the whole entire Mule family that's made by another company. But I'm sure that Kawasaki has given them specifications for the machine and they, you know, sign off on it. It's built to Kawasaki specs, in other words. So I guess it's not really a big deal. But anyway, a few things that I've noticed. Let's just talk about the cons first of all. So early on when I did the very first, you know, review video on this machine, when I first showed it to you, I noted that sometimes I would put this shifter in reverse and the machine would not move. And I even showed you that on camera. Since then, what I have discovered is that the shifting on this thing is terrible. Sometimes I'll put it in high range and I'll take off, and then about 50 or 60 feet forward, it'll go bang just this really loud bang, and then it'll take off. So I guess what's happening is, even though the shifter will be in high, it's actually stuck in low, and then at some point it shifts over to high range real quick, and when it does that, you get that loud bang, and then it takes off. So combine that with the fact that the reverse was not working all the time, I'm starting to wonder if maybe the linkage needs to be adjusted. Hopefully that's all that it is, but I will also say that this shifter does not have any positive feedback when you're switching between ranges. You know, I mean, you can go from low to high to neutral to reverse, and it just doesn't really give you any positive engagement. You know, it doesn't, I mean, it just kind of like slops around, and there's not really any detents that you can feel when you go into each selection. I don't really like that. I almost wish that they had a gated shifter on here, like the Suzuki ATV that I just got rid of. That would probably help a lot. But the shifting has not been the best so far, and I guess I need to investigate and see if the linkage needs to be tinkered with a little bit. I don't know, but I'm not real happy with that. The other thing is, there is a rhythmic harmonic vibration that happens only at certain speeds. Now, before I bought this machine, I was watching YouTube videos on this machine from other people who had them. And there was one guy who noted that on his machine, and his was like a 21 or 22 model or something. Can't remember. Obviously, it was older than the 24, but he was having the same issue. Certain speeds, you get that vibration. You can feel it in these steel floorboards. Obviously, you can hear it. It just happens like around 20 miles per hour or so. I can't remember the exact speed. And then as you drive, keep going faster, you kind of get out of it. And then it comes back again at another higher speed. So there's something that's inherent to the design of this drive line that causes that. It's not a problem with this specific machine. I think it's actually just inherent to the design. I don't know if it's the U-joints, the drive shaft, I don't know what it is, but there's something about this thing that at certain speeds makes a lot of racket. And it gives the machine the feeling that it's not built very well, even though we know Kawasaki machines are built really well. When it starts doing that, it feels like a machine that's not very well put together. So obviously it's been a problem for a long time. If that guy's noticed it, some other people have mentioned it on forums and what have you. It's been going on for several years. So I don't know why they haven't addressed that issue yet. The third thing, I noted in my first review video that the tires were going down. Well, update on that, I have discovered that it wasn't actually the tires. What it was is the valve stem cores. So the valve stems that they put in these from the factory are junk. Those little cores in there are not very high quality, and they were allowing air to leak around them. So I just simply took the valve stem cores out. I happen to have a valve stem tool in my toolbox, and I had some valve stem cores that I had bought previously when I was messing around with the fluid in the rear of the tractor tires. So I just found the correct size valve stem core, put some new ones in, and ever since then the tires have been holding air just fine. So if you buy one of these machines and you notice that the tires keep going down, before you start messing around with tires and wheels, check your valve stem cores, because that very well could be what the problem is. So aside from that, the machine has been great. Obviously, this is a small machine. Like I said in the other video, if you look at a full-size ATV, like for example, the King Quad 750 that I just had before this, or like a Polaris Sportsman 1000 or something like that, the stance, the wheelbase, the track width, the overall frame size on this is really not that much bigger than a full-size ATV, which is great because what I have found is the turning radius on this is amazing. You can put this thing just about anywhere and it's amazing. It fits in a lot of places. Like I said, the turn radius is great. As far as where you can go with a machine like this, pretty much anywhere that an ATV will go. So I do love that. I have worked with it a little bit, and what I've noticed is the towing on this is really great because of the way it's geared. So I've got a 12-foot utility trailer, and I hooked it up to this yesterday to move the trailer around, and you couldn't even hardly tell the trailer was there. Very surprising. So this has got really good tow capacity. I have no doubt that if you need to work with this machine, it would be a cinch to do that, because this thing is geared really low, and it's got the small 25-inch tires on it, so it's got a lot of power getting to the ground. And I think this engine is tuned to make a lot of low-end torque also, because you don't have to rev it up much at all to get power out of it. So as far as towing and working with it, it has been great so far too, as you would expect being a Kawasaki Mule, right? So the seats seem to be fairly comfortable. I do kind of wish that there was more leg room inside, but obviously if you start putting more leg room in there and reclining the back of the seat a little more, if you try to make it more comfortable, then you're adding length to the machine. And we just talked about the advantages of having a smaller UTV. There are plenty of huge UTVs on the market these days. I think that the thing that's so special about the MX is what it can do for its size. You know, the fact that it is shorter and a little bit smaller and more compact allows it to do some things that you quite frankly just can't do otherwise. Now, one of the things I've noticed, I just now saw this, one of these aluminum wheels has already been torn up. And see, that's exactly the thing that I was worried about with this LE model. A machine like this is gonna be torn up. You're gonna scratch it up. If you use it out in the woods, if you trail ride it, whatever the case might be, you're gonna scratch it up. So I've never really understood the concept of putting nice alloy wheels on an off-road machine. Personally, I just don't get it. I think that's kind of stupid. And so I was really leaning toward just getting a base model and adding the roof myself. Maybe I should have, I don't know, but it is what it is. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it got up against a rock or what, but I'll show you here in a minute close up. You can clearly see where it's got some serious rash on the wheel, and being an aluminum alloy wheel, you can't fix that. If it was a steel wheel, I would just sand that a little bit, spray paint it, boom, done. But you can't fix one of these wheels. Once you tear it up, it's torn up. Nothing you can do about it. Anyway, the machine has been doing great. Something else that I've noticed about this machine is the fuel economy is awesome. So I think it holds about 9 gallons. My cousin filled it up. Like I said, they put 50 miles on this machine out in the woods, and he said that it didn't hardly use any fuel at all. I mean, just fantastic fuel economy. That's one of the advantages of having a single cylinder engine, is that you get really good fuel economy. You know, if you get those bigger machines with the V-twins and the triple cylinder engines, you got to feed all them cylinders, you know, and you're going to burn more gas. So it's nice to be able to fill this thing up and ride all day long and not have to worry about your fuel level. So anyway, it's been doing pretty good for us so far. I think it is a pretty nice machine. Can't go wrong with this. I think that if you're looking for a UTV where you've got a bench seat, you can put 2 or 3 people in here, but you need something small so that you can get through ATV trails or whatever the case might be, this is kind of perfect because it's rugged enough to do work with, and it's obviously designed to do work with, but you can still take this out and trail ride it. We'll have no problem with that at all, and in fact, that's what I'm going to be doing with it pretty soon. Winter is coming, so might be using it to do some winter work around here too. That'll be interesting. Got a couple more jobs lined up for this thing. One of them is I got to get a branch that broke out of one of my oak trees and got hung about 30 feet up. I've got to try and rig up some way to throw a rope up and over that, and I'm going to try and like get 100 feet of rope so I can get away from it and hook it up to this machine, see if we can just pull that branch out. Probably try to do that this afternoon. The other thing is I've got a chain drag that I use on the driveway to smooth out the gravel when it gets all those ripples in it and gets rough. I just run that chain drag over there and it smooths it out real nice. We're going to try to do that with this machine later today too. But so far, so good. Just a few minor gripes with this machine. I can probably adjust the linkage and take care of that transmission shifting issue, I'm hoping. But anyway, Kawasaki Mule Pro MX LE, pretty nice machine for the money. I've heard that there's some guys that have found these for around 12,000 bucks. that's a pretty good deal for a machine that likely would last you for 20 years if you took care of it. So that's all I got for now, guys. I'll show you some stuff here in a little while that we're going to do with the Mule. Talk to you later. Oh man, the sun's making it a little bit too bright, but you can see where obviously it rubbed the tire too, but then it got up into that wheel, gouged the wheel out. So I guess it happens, but it sure is a bummer.